So essentially a platform engineer is somebody who has a lot of DevOps experience. Platform engineering is really just DevOps at scale. And really what the goal of a platform engineer is to essentially deliver platforms for an organization where developers are the customers of the platform engineering teams. They essentially are platform DevOps engineers, but they deliver platforms by doing DevOps at scale. So think of large organizations with different moving parts, different tools, or a lot of different tools floating around. And the goal of the platform engineer is to basically abstract away a lot of the complexity and toil involved that developers are facing when deploying their software solutions onto, for example, AWS, and just give developers this sort of like self-service functionality to just, focus on what's important to them, which is writing business logic.
So a platform engineer is not just someone who's worked in DevOps, it's someone who's got a broad depth as well as width of knowledge. Platform engineer's responsibility is determining the best possible way to build a platform for the customers, whether the customers are internal or external, and determining the best tools for the job. So one of the biggest misconceptions of platform engineering is when someone says they've worked in DevOps, that they are automatically a platform engineer, or someone who's worked in site reliability engineering, they are automatically a platform engineer. Not to say that they are not, but a platform engineer has got those skills and qualities, but they've also got the experience behind them, actually implementing them, using them, and configuring them.
So for me, when I started my career at BBD, I just initially started as a software engineer. Over time, I got involved a bit more in the DevOps, CI/CD type of space, and also did an AWS cert, which really sparked my interest in like the cloud space and also the DevOps space, which eventually I joined the team where we started doing a lot of Kubernetes, cloud native, working with a lot of cloud native technologies, which is really where I found a passion, somewhere where I am enjoying doing what I do on a daily. It's really fulfilling to me. And out of that, as time progressed and as we moved from client to client, we started seeing the emergence of the so-called platform engineering, which has been around for maybe not more than 3 years, the whole concept of platform engineering. And as of 2024, basically the past whole year, we've been building a couple of platforms at one of our clients over in the Netherlands. And yeah, like just combining all the knowledge from my software engineering background and DevOps background into actually building platforms for internal developer teams to actually consume, which is really where the distinction from DevOps comes in, is that we aren't just aren't just doing ticket ops and helping developers get their stuff deployed. We're actually providing developers with a service such that they can self-service themselves.
So my career path is pretty similar to Nick's. I think pretty much everyone starts off as a software engineer. And kind of organically started doing CI/CD with the emergence of container platforms like Kubernetes. We were quite on the forefront of that, so we adopted it quite early. Importance of moving CI/CD pipelines and workloads onto something like a platform like Kubernetes was always beneficial. So moving workloads, migrations, getting stuff to run on Kubernetes, and all the experience with the DevOps and the SecOps behind it. Really nice to be able to implement all the things that you've used along your career and doing things correctly, using all the right ways to do things, and also from learning all the wrong ways to do things. So, thoroughly enjoy platform engineering. It's nice building things from scratch. It's nice using all the great, cool, latest and greatest tools.
So I think where really the turning point came in for our clients, some of our clients, is that some of our clients obviously are quite large, some of them not, but specifically referring to the larger clients, they reached the point where they were doing DevOps, but the overall toil and complexity of managing this DevOps at scale really became an issue. There's a lot of silos that form between the different teams, and really out of this, obviously in the whole cloud native space, and the platform engineering concept emerged. And obviously it's a big buzzword, Gartner is considering it one of the top, 10% of emerging types of engineering out there. And really, a lot of the clients, obviously, when they see a buzzword, they want to hop on the hype train. But I do think there's a common misconception where clients think they're doing platform engineering, and in fact, they might not actually be doing platform engineering. They might just be really doing DevOps. So a lot of the clients are, investing a lot of time and money in building teams to essentially build these so-called self-service developer portals, or just other platforms that enhance the overall life of a developer in the organization. So really the end goal of these teams are really just to speed up the time which it takes for developers or engineering teams to deploy their software solutions, and essentially that saves money.
I think a lot of the big customers are realizing that a lot of the platforms that they implement are mostly repeatable, but when you get different teams in different silos doing the same thing for the same company, you always get a huge amount of drift and a huge amount of discrepancy. So I think the drive for more platform engineering is just standardizing and simplifying the way things are done, keeping things streamlined and organized.
So I think number one is obviously has to have a good technical background in the DevOps space, also software engineering space. He needs to understand a whole bunch of technologies and how they fit together. In other words, in order to actually develop a platform that is successful and is actually getting used. Other than that, obviously, because a platform engineer is delivering a product, they have to have a lot of skills in doing research and figuring out what are the requirements. In other words, they need to have this sort of intuitiveness to determine what is actually needed by us, what do you need to deliver. And with that also they need to have exceptional clientele skills. So they need to obviously talk to the client, understand what are their needs, what are their benefits. Even the client might even not know what they need, but a platform engineer might deduce by talking to the client and understanding, okay, these are his requirements, this is essentially what I think they should get, and then put together a plan of what we're going to build, and then just put together a platform engineering team to build a platform that would essentially have a return of investment and save the client money in the long term.
I think a platform engineer should be able to distinguish the benefits and the negatives between different tools and determine what the client wants, and then using the depth of knowledge that they've gained over the years, implementing things to make the customer find value in what's being delivered. Platform engineers at BBD are not just expected to implement the tools that the customer wants, there's also to form a consultancy role which can advise the customer the best way to do things, the best tools and technologies and methodologies to implement. A really good platform engineer at BBD would interact with the client, have a lot of face-to-face, have a lot of challenges, have a lot of discussions. I think most importantly, educate the customer as to why and when to use the tools that they've decided to use.
So I just want to mention that the whole concept of platform engineering isn't limited or restricted to a certain set of technologies. But at BBD, in the MPS space and the platform engineering space, we found a set of technologies which we feel comfortable with going to our clients with and recommending these sort of stacks of technologies to build platforms on. And these are really I'd say Terraform, Kubernetes, tools like Argo CD, Crossplane, really tools in the null cloud native space, but most of them are really what we as MPS engineers are familiar with, but allow us to essentially deliver scalable and production ready platforms for our clients.
Also, being a platform engineer or being a good platform engineer is remaining agnostic and also understanding what the client needs. So there might be a requirement where you would have to use a specific tool, and as a platform engineer you should be able to assist them with that. A successful CV for a platform engineer would be an individual who has a fair bit of experience in using a multitude of different cloud native technologies, understanding the difference between those techs, where their strengths and their weaknesses lie, the ability to have really meaningful discussions with the client and determining their needs, quite a large breadth and depth of knowledge in all aspects of platform engineering, and that includes source control to CI/CD, monitoring, telemetry, metrics, alerting, whether it's in Kubernetes or it's in AWS native tools. They should be able to distinguish the difference between those and then decide which is the best to use. have really good interpersonal skills, be able to engage meaningful conversations with the customer, and taking the customer requirements and needs, transforming them into technical implementations, and also very importantly, training other future platforms.
I've really fallen in love with platform engineering. I really think this is the place for me, or specific space for me and BB to work at. And I encourage everybody who's interested in this space, who's seen a bit of platform engineering or heard the buzzword out there, to learn or make the effort to learn the different technologies and how platform engineering as a role can really, add value to a company. And if you're really interested, reach out to myself, Mick, Ricardo, people from the MPS team, and see how you can get involved in the platform engineering space.